Hey, little sociologists, editor Nihal here. I would just like to preface this episode by letting you guys know that recording on Zoom meeting is pretty inconvenient and it's very difficult. And so, if there's a few inconsistencies or glitches here and there, please do understand. We're just trying our best. And yeah, I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for your patience. Bye. Hey, sisters. Nihal, Shadha, Lojain, and Yasmin here.
Welcome to Thought Threads, our sociology podcast. We are all high school A-level students and discuss our topics with our backgrounds in psychology, sociology, and English literature. Our discussions are rooted in the current world and our own personal experience.
Due to the current situation of the country, we are unable to record in real time, but this never stopped us and never will. We're recording it on Zoom for now, and this is our first episode titled I Am My Own Standard.
So I will start it off by saying the title of today's episode actually came from a 2 a.m. conversation between Nihal and I about Black women's natural hair. And basically, we noticed that basically anyone that isn't a part of the West is constantly chasing the Western beauty standards and ideals. And it's just this never ending story. And we came to the conclusion that, we don't look like them and we never will. So why bother making them the standard? I am my own standard. The way that I look, Yasmin, is just my standard.
Yep. And within that same breath, we were also wondering, why is it that when ethnic features are apparent or sort of represented on white women, why is it that they then become more desirable? Like, we were thinking about curly hair and hair textures, and how curly hair or like kinky hair was never really a desirable beauty standard in our society. It's always, straighten your hair on Eid. What am I gonna do with my
Yeah.
hair? I have an event tomorrow. It's always that. But we found that in recent times, with the popularity of a lot of YouTubers, such as the Caligora sisters, um, curly hair has become more desirable, but it's only desirable because it's worn by white women. Kinky hair textures or curls that aren't loose are still very frowned upon. It's seen as having your hair undone. And yeah, it's just food for thought.
I also see this within my own culture, not just in Indian culture, but South Asian culture in general, where we've had very ancient and long-standing traditions such as yoga or herbal medicine, which are huge traditions in India or other South Asian cultures. But in recent times, we've seen how specifically in the West or by white people, they adopt these cultures and traditions as their own, and they don't give credit to the country that these things originated from. For example, like I did a few days ago, if you search up on YouTube like yoga tutorials or how to begin yoga, what shows up is not like Indian people showing how to do it. It's white people because they took they sort of assimilated these traditions into their own. And I feel like a lot of people would justify this, and it's okay to take parts of other cultures and try it out as celebrating another culture. But where we draw the line should be where they don't give credit to the original culture. So people might justify this by saying it's just globalization. It's just um, people being more open to trying other traditions and cultures, and that's fine. But as long as you keep in mind where the origins were from.
Wait,
We can
Shida
also
said
talk about,
a
yeah.
word just now. You said globalization. Can you define that?
Yeah, so globalization is basically just when cultures stop being so inward and they sort of are more tolerant to other cultures. So we can see that a lot now through social media. So for example, in India, people might be eating sushi, which is a Japanese food, because of social media. Also, another beauty standard that we can really prominently see is when it comes to skin color. So if you look at the West, everyone is wanting to be tan, everyone's wanting to be darker skinned ultimately. While if you go to the East or Eastern culture, Southern culture, or Southeastern culture, everyone's wanting to bleach their skin, which is harmful, and they're ultimately just doing it for lighter skin. And it's always been so ironic to me how the group that has this skin color by birth does not want that. They want what the other group has, if that makes sense.
And
So
then
bring
you have white women, sorry, Lojain.
no, it's okay.
You have white women tanning in the sun for hours to get like a darker skin complexion. It's like, oh,
I think in both cases, it's ironic because in both cases, you're putting yourself at risk. Like, for example, if especially people with less melanin in their skin, if they are exposed to the sun for too long, it could be dangerous. And on the flip side, if you bleach, it could also be dangerous. And the goal is just to look more desirable.
And it's so funny because like
Is
it's
your emotions?
basically saying that everyone wants what they can't have. And I think that's an issue that needs its own spotlight sometime later. Yeah.
but the reason why there's constantly these beauty standards that no one can achieve, whether you're lighter skin, darker skin, whatever you have, is, in my opinion, because of capitalism. Because and consumerism, especially that one, because they keep preying on people's insecurities and saying, oh, you don't like your curly hair? Let's give you 18 products so that you can straighten your hair and look different. And this mainly affects women just because women our beauty is kind of worth more and it gives us our worth in a way, unfortunately. And another way that this is really, really implemented, I think, beauty standards is through social media. And I remember in psychology, we took Bandura's
Oh
social learning
yeah.
theory.
So Bandura's social learning theory, um, considering social media, is basically Bandura suggesting that young women identify the reason that we chase after these beauty ideals is because young women will see women like they'll see models, they'll see actresses on social media that have a certain body type that most of the time is very difficult to attain or just unattainable. And because these models and actresses get a lot of praise for how they look and their appearance and their body types, um, we as an audience, especially young women, get something called vicarious positive reinforcement, which means that we see all these models getting so much love and so much praise for looking that way that we then strive to look the same so we can get
Yeah.
that same praise. It's just social learning.
What I found helps me with this is so when I started weightlifting, obviously you're gonna use other people for inspiration and advice. And what I found helped was I only followed people that looked like me or resembled me, and they had the same, for example, muscle insertions, height, width, all that stuff, because I cannot constantly look on my social media feed a bunch of short, petite women. Um, I'm never gonna look like that. I can't shrink myself. So having a feed of just women that look like you makes me feel so much better. And I think people should start doing that. If you're, let's say, if you're, for example, African, follow more African women, like so that your brain normalizes that instead of a bunch of white women on your feed.
I want to talk about what Nihal was talking about earlier about how people want to conform to what they see on social media because they want those similar rewards. I think that's also applicable to the real female role models that they have in real life. So, for example, if you have an older sister who sort of just prioritizes just their beauty and just how their appearance is, and you see them getting so many compliments and seeming happy, you're gonna want to live up to that as well. So I think it's important to have good role models in your life.
I also want to add on that this isn't us saying that it's your fault that you strive to look like a certain majority that opposes your own. It actually can link back to so many things, one of them being the media. The media meaning things like social media or things such as TV or entertainment shows. For example, think back to the TV shows you watched and loved as a kid. Princess Diaries, Aladdin, Tangled. Do you ever notice how certain features or certain faces always seem to get the crown? The love, the happy ending? This isn't just something, this isn't something that is easy to accept as a child, especially if those people don't look like you. For example, Adichie talks about the danger of a single story, which is basically she basically preaches how one single story in which she saw her own people represented as successful changed her view on what success truly is. She explains how she thought that success meant like being a mother, having children, because the only role model she knew and she deemed as successful was her own mother, because that's the only woman of color that she deemed successful as a child. But when she read books about people like her, people of color, becoming lawyers, doctors, and stuff like that, it truly changed her perspective and essentially motivated her to move forward. This would basically preach the importance of representation, especially for the younger audience. So the next time you watch a show or scroll online, remember, it's not just entertainment. It's teaching someone somewhere who is beautiful and who matters and who gets to dream.
Whoa, I haven't even like ever considered this, All this stuff rubbed me the wrong way as a kid, but I never really sat and thought about it sociologically.
So I feel like it's a universal experience where you grow up and then you find some video on YouTube where it's like explaining the evil backstory behind this movie that everyone watched as a kid and everyone loved. And it often has like very racist origins or something. And it's like we never even pause to think, is what I'm seeing right? And it can be so dangerous how deeply ingrained it is.
Oh my God, yeah, totally.
There's
For
just
example,
one.
Mother Gothel being evil and ugly
Yeah.
when she's
Oh
probably just a
yeah.
second mom. Sorry. And she's not even ugly.
Yeah, and there's just
Yeah,
one other point I forgot to mention. I mentioned Princess Diaries, and by that I meant how her basically the whole plot was her having a glow up, and her glow up essentially went from her having curly hair and glasses to straight hair and no glasses, which is basically
m-
deeming curly hair as something ugly or dirty or just not for princesses.
Yeah, and what Yasmin said about Mother Gothel, that was back when curly hair was not seen as like a desirable thing. It was only until like Western influencers started having curly hair that it was seen as a pretty thing. It wasn't before.
Okay, so sociology break. So earlier, Lojain said something that reminded me of a debate that we were having in sociology. When Lojain was explaining how certain beauty standards are enforced on us through the media, she said that, well, obviously, it's not our fault that we all strive to have Eurocentric features and we all strive to essentially look white. Because in the media, characters who have white Eurocentric features are portrayed in a positive light, and Shadha just said that characters who have ethnic features are always portrayed in a negative light. So it's not our fault that we strive to look that way. But in sociology, we were having this debate about conflict theorists and consensus theorists who have opposite things to say about this subject. So conflict theorists are theorists like Marxists or feminists who say that there are certain groups in society who are oppressed and there are certain groups in society who essentially rule society and control the media in this case. And so the ruling class in society is middle class white men who in this case control the media, and they say that we should have, we should all women should look white and all women should have straight hair and a certain body type and pale skin and colored eyes, and that any woman who has ethnic features kind of is pushed away from society and won't get as much love and attention. But then on the opposite side of this, there are consensus theorists who are like functionalists and pluralists. And they say that actually we get to consume whatever media we identify with, and that there is nothing really pushed on us. We're not forced to accept white and Eurocentric beauty standards. And so, yeah, this links with this because these sociologists say that actually we can just interact with whatever media we identify with and we don't have to accept white Eurocentric beauty standards. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that there are certain beauty ideals pushed on us and that there are certain beauty ideals that are forced on us? Or do you think that we can just interact with whatever content we identify with and that we're not forced to accept anything? Let us know in the comment section.
That's so harmful as a little kid to have curly hair and then see every single cartoon character or like TV show main character whenever they have a glow up. Oh, now their hair straight. And then we
Do you
wonder
guys
why
think?
everyone has hair damage and all.
Also, guys,
Oh
one more
yeah.
thing. You know that TikTok trend where like, I think that I found myself a cheerleader, where before that they have like dots, black dots, like that's supposed to be
Yeah.
acne, and then like
Yeah.
really damp frizzy hair, and then transition into like straight hair and no acne. Like that's so genuinely harmful to children, especially
Mind
the ones
you,
that are going through puberty and have just getting hormonal acne
exactly.
instead.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
It's
that's their
so
main
normal.
audience.
Who said that it was ugly? And because it's mainly children that are at risk and like they're the most vulnerable, we really need to make sure we know what these children are watching. Because of course, the media is just gonna put out whatever they want, but seeing how much it can impact us and change our view of ourselves, it's so harmful and it's so dangerous. And we really, really have to keep in mind that majority of people on social media are children. So
And
us
that
as
could be
like
anyone. Be our younger siblings, that could be our younger cousins. So to our audience, if you have anyone in your house that you feel responsible for or anyone younger than you that you can influence, do the right thing.
and you know what, even with yourself, let's those podcast pros that are like the red pill, the escape the matrix. Escape the matrix here. You don't have to believe and care
Mhm.
about the media. Who
The
cares about
change starts with us, definitely.
exactly.
Anyways, I also want to say that it's extremely important for young Muslim girls to see themselves represented positively, because representation shapes not only how they see themselves but also their worth and what's possible for them, what is deemed successful, what goals they set for themselves. When the media constantly shows Muslim women as side characters or characters that stray away from their religion, we lose what we call our Islamic values. And it basically sends the message that they're not the ones who get love, success, or admiration, which is why putting successful Muslim roles in the media or in TV shows or entertainment is so important to shape the young generation. For example, in some Netflix shows, Muslim hijabi women are misrepresented, which give the wrong message to the young generation who are very fragile and very moldable, which is why what they're exposed to on the media is so important. So basically, positive representation allows girls to imagine themselves as leaders, heroes, or someone who can achieve their dreams while embracing who they are, including their faith, culture, and most importantly, their religion.
Now, from an Islamic perspective, it's always important to accept yourself as you are and not compare yourself to unrealistic ideals or standards. So, to end on a final note, we're going to recite a hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, all mankind is from Prophet Adam ﷺ and Hawa ﷺ. An Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab, nor a non-Arab has any superiority over an Arab. Also, a white has no superiority over a black, nor a black has any superiority over a white, except by piety and good action. So always just be focused on what change you're bringing to the world.
And on a final note, don't forget to remember that if you fit in for a minute, you lose yourself within it. And if you chase it for the trend, you lose it in the end. And by that, I mean your ethnic features and your personality that make you the unique person that you are meant to be.
Thank you so much for watching our YouTube video. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave a comment down below.
And tune in for the next episode.
Yeah, tune in for the next episode. Inshallah, we can make them face to face.
And regular every week. Yep.
Yes.
We hope you guys enjoyed
Okay,
this
bye,
video.
sisters.
Bye!